Hi, everybody, and welcome to Module 5. We are getting into the home stretch now, and the two things that we're going to be working on this week will be multimodal evidence and putting together your first draft of your profile. The moment we have all been waiting for is here. So you're going to begin with a discussion on multimodal evidence. Of course, that's after you've completed your Module 5 Top Hat assignments. So in the discussion on multimodal evidence, we are going to be taking a look at some different samples. And as you think about these samples, take a look at the types of visuals that are in the samples. Now, our profiles are not going to be exactly like these samples, but you're going to want to just take a look at the multimodal components that are there and think about or reflect about what you feel is working best in these samples, and maybe even give a critique, in your own personal journal. Nothing to turn in for the critique, just something to reflect on before you post that discussion. So what you're specifically going to be looking at in the discussion is what you thought was the most effective in each of these profiles, and you're going to need to be able to explain why. And that'll maybe come out of some of the reflections that you've done in your journal. You're going to want to be able to also identify those pieces that you didn't think worked very well and also explain why. So you'll need some justifications for your answers here. And then you're going to be thinking about your own profile, the sample information you viewed, and what kind of choices you'd like to make for your profile. And that's really what you're going to be discussing in paragraph 2, the planning section of the discussion. You're going to share a screenshot of 2 pieces of visual evidence that you're going to be using in your own profile. So you'll have a chance to identify these things before we start putting that profile together. And then you'll also, of course, be responding to your peers as usual. And our writing mentor will be looking the discussion over and giving the gradebook feedback as they have been doing throughout the entire class. So the next thing, and what you'll be spending most of your time on this week, is putting together the draft of your profile. So we did lots of different invention exercises that you're now going to use to piece everything together, right? You did a topic proposal, and you did some reflections, and you also turned in some additional pieces and the discussions and everything. And so now you can really reflect on how you're going to put your profile together and incorporate that primary research that you did during Module 4. So in order to start composing your draft, I'll just make some suggestions on the successful drafts that I've looked in the past. Usually take on a kind of storytelling method. They use a lot of descriptive language. They think about the 5 senses and how to really capture your reader's attention. So you'll want to really draw us in initially into your profile by having a strong opening. And then once you've completed that opening, you're probably going to want to give us some background information on the business. And then maybe adding in a quotation or 2 and present us with one of your visuals that you would like us to see, because that's really going to draw us in the beginning. So those are just some suggestions. By all means, feel free not to take those suggestions and kind of go your own way. But when I've seen students use that method in the past, it's worked well. So then you're building up to your thesis sentence in the profile. That'll be kind of at the end of that first paragraph after you give some background and draw your reader in, think about your audience. And then your thesis, as we've been talking about, is really going to state that unique thing that you've identified about your business, right? By now, you have investigated their mission, their vision, you've taken a look at their various social media pages, and you've identified something that's unique about them. And you'll want to include that in your thesis. Feel free to go back and review all the feedback that I've given so far on the thesis sentence and your other assignments while you're composing the thesis for your rough draft. So then you're going to go ahead and compose your profile and work in the various pieces that we've discussed with the rhetorical analysis. And a nice way of organizing that profile will be to focus on your thesis and pull in that unique vision as you're giving us the rhetorical analysis, as you are working in some primary research and an analysis of the visuals that you've presented. And then at the end of the document, you're going to give us or reflect on the draft that you've written. So you're going to be attaching to the same document, right? Or making a note in the comments section, a one-page self-assessment. And that's going to include what you thought some of the strong points of your draft were and some areas that you think you might need some help with, right? And when I give my feedback, then I can take a look at those areas you feel you're struggling with and make some specific suggestions around those areas. So make sure to include that one-page self-assessment within the draft itself. And so you'll be turning those things in to me for my feedback, and then also for peer review. Your peers will take a look also at your profile and give you some feedback. And also the writing mentor will be looking at the drafts that you're doing and giving some feedback. So you'll also have the opportunity to work one-on-one with the writing mentor by setting up a time that works for you to meet with the writing mentor if you would like to do that. And all of these things you can do as you think about revising this and turning in your final product. So that's it for Module 5. This is a pretty big module. I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to seeing the drafts come alive, and have a great week.